Hey there, today I'm just going to give you a super quick walkthrough of how to publish to iOS using the new Director 12. Here you can see I've got the new Director 12 open. Looks very similar to the old Director. I'll just make a very quick app, do a red dot. I'll show you a tiny little bug down here in the cast window. If you select to edit that and then click elsewhere, you'll see a tiny little mirror image of the cast name, which got shifted off. So I drag that up onto my stage. I'll add a little go to frame save, and here you can see the new script completion tool. Some people find this really annoying, other people like it. I'm still in between. I'm not sure what I think. I think I end up having to hit too many return statements now. So I'll go ahead and write a little bit of a script right here. In a few seconds I'll drastically speed it up, but I just wanted to show more of the completion in the script window. And so if you don't know what you're doing with Director, I'm not sure if this helps or hurts you, which is the big question. But you get a lot of options which aren't always directly connected. And another thing this doesn't do is if you have a property kicking around, it won't start to autofill those properties like it does in some other apps I've seen. So I'm speeding through this a little bit. It looks just like the old script window used to, except for the auto completion. I really wish it'd be a little more polished for being able to add like full snippets of things, and particularly that properties in a behavior, I wish that would autofill, because then I would know what I'm typing correctly. I changed the movie size here to 1024 by 768, which is the size on the iPad. And now, in the old days, to publish to a projector, you just click Publish, which I did right here. You can see my code managed to run things back and forth. Now we'll step into trying to publish an iOS projector. The first thing on the iOS tab, you basically have a few slots here that are pretty simple. You have your app name, which is what's going to show up on the iPad or the iPhone. You have a bundle identifier, an info.plist path, a provisioning file, and an app signing identity name and the initial orientation. Really quickly, the name is what shows up in the iPad. The bundle identifier is one of those things that you had to get from Apple before you submit it to the App Store. You'll have to have a unique app bundle identifier. When you're doing testing, you can literally put anything you want in there. The info.plist is basically a file that sort of keeps a lot of preferences associated with that. The path to the icon logo, startup screens, a whole bunch of things like that. And there's a lot of documentation on those on the Apple site. Here I'm selecting my plist, and then I'll select this provisioning file, which is something you download from the Apple website as well. I then have my iPhone developer license set, and I check on files. If you have any embedded files like icons or anything like that, you will need to make sure those are embedded among the support files. But for this very simple movie, I have nothing, so I just go ahead and click Publish, and a second later, this IPA file shows up. Then what I do is I open Xcode, and if you don't see anything, choose Window Organizer under Xcode, and then you'll see your device. In this case, I have my iPad 3 connected here, and you can just drag it right over onto the iPad in this organizer window, and it loads it on there. Then I'm going to go ahead and boot up an app that shows called Reflector, which lets me show my iPad directly on the screen. So I run that right here just to show you that the app got put on here. And I look for it here for a second. And there it is in the right-hand corner. It has the default Director icon, and that's one of those things in the info.plist you can change. So I start that up, and there's my app running on the iPad, and it literally took a few seconds to compile and publish that app. And that's one of the things that amazes me, is how quickly I can publish, provided you don't use any third-party extras, and most code works. There's always a few things that don't. The biggest issues right now are text-related issues. If you do any editing or fancy RTF of text, you're going to have to really deal with that in a new way. A lot of the other things here, you can see the apps you have on here and what's exactly in them. You have a console window. When you're running the app, when it's connected, you'll see put statements here, and also trace statements if there's flash sprites inside your app. There's a device log here, so if it crashes, you'll get a crash report, although those never really help me. I've never really figured out what the screenshot tool, but I've never played with it, so that's not too important. And I can see my current app currently sitting on there. That's about it. Overall, if you want to create apps for the iPad, this literally takes a few seconds. I published one app that contained about 400 different Director movies, and it took maybe a minute to compile, maybe less. I think it took longer to copy that app over to the iPad after I'd compiled it. And then it ran pretty well, but I'm still working on a lot of the bugs that I'm aware of. So feel free to try it out. You'll have to have an Apple developer license and things like that. Good luck.